You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the December 17, 2024 meeting of the LaPorte County Regional Sewer and Water District Board. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Calling the meeting of the LaPorte County Regional Sewer District for December 17th, 2024 to order. Everybody please rise and salute the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
John Carr,
Here.
Marcella Kunstick,
Here.
Jerry Jackson is not here. Mitch Bishop,
Here.
Corey Campbell,
Here.
Mark Danielson,
Here.
Amanda Laners is not here. We have a quorum.
Okay. Okay, first thing on the agenda is the bid opening for the Hudson Saugony Wastewater Project Phase 1. So we got Steve Henchen from JPR is going to open the bids and read them aloud. You go ahead.
We're going to start with contract A.
Give
And
Mike.
Steve, make sure you're near a mic.
There you go, Steve.
I got extra. Amanda's not here.
First bid is from Selge Construction Company, Inc. out of Niles, Michigan. Again, this is for contract A. And today we're just going to read the total bid amount. Give me just a second to get to that page.
Thanks.
All right, the total bid price is $4,461,692. That's $4,461,692.
And that bidder again was who, Steve?
Selge Construction Company, Inc., out of Niles, Michigan.
Me.
Second bid is from Woodruff and Sons, Inc., out of Michigan City, Indiana. And this is for contract A. Their price is $6,793,559.88 is their total bid price.
Could you read that again, Steve?
I will.
Sorry.
Should have kept the page. $6,793,559.88. And again, that's from Woodruff and Sons, Michigan City, Indiana. The third bid for contract A is from Grimmer Construction Company, Inc. They are out of LaPorte, Indiana. Their total bid price, $6,100,290.00. State that again, $6,100,290.00. And that's the bid from Grimmer. Next then, we'll be reading the two bids from for the contract B project. Just to Quick description, contract A is the big pump station and long force main and the improvements at the wastewater treatment plant. And contract B is the collection system out at Saugony Lake. First bid is from Selge Construction Company, Inc., out of Niles, Michigan. Their total bid price, $8,236,471.69. I'll repeat that, $8,236,471.69. This bid is from H&G Underground Utilities, LLC, out of LaPorte. Again, this is for contract B. Pages are sticking together here. Their bid is $11,163,715.70. I'll read that again, $11,163,715.70.
Nobody's good there.
And that's the last of the bids. It's customary at this point that the board would just accept the bids as submitted and do a review of those bids. And JPR then at that point will check all the math, check the submittals, make sure they're complying with all the requirements, and then we'd be coming back in mid-January with a formal recommendation. We'll be working with Steve Carter on the financial side of things as well, in the meantime.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks everybody for coming.
Do you need, Steve, a motion from the board to accept the bids as submitted and referring them to the engineer?
I think that's a good idea, yes.
So move.
Second. We got a motion and a second to accept the bids as read and refer to, did you say refer to engineering committee?
Refer to our district engineers, I think, and then they come back to the full board with a recommendation.
Refer it back to JPR. Any questions on the motion? Proceed to vote. All those in favor signify by word aye.
Who was the motion and second?
Mark was the motion, Corey was the second.
Thank you.
Can you reveal engineer's estimate? Because are these all over B?
I'm sorry, what
I
was
mean,
it?
do we not even mention the engineer's estimate?
Oh, we can, yes.
I mean, I'm just kind of curious.
Right. So,
Usually B.
I'll list them both, and these are, I've rounded our engineer's estimate up to the nearest
Yeah.
100,000. So contract A, engineer's estimate was 3,500,000, 3.5 million.
Okay.
Contract B, the engineer's estimate was 6,100,000.
Wow.
So,
So, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Proceed to vote. All those in favor signify by word aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.
I like that, 'cause
Wow.
Okay. Moving on to,
Thanks, Steve.
you're welcome.
thanks,
Thank you,
Steve.
Steve.
thanks, Steve, thanks, Jennifer. Sure, that's it.
Moving on to the minutes from the previous meeting.
Make a motion to accept.
Second. We got a motion and a second to accept the minutes from the previous meeting. Any questions? Proceed to vote. All those in favor signify by word aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Public comment. Anyone wishing to speak needs to state their name and address for the record, and we'll have 3 minutes to speak. Is there anybody here for public comment? Okay, moving on. Seeing none?
Anybody up there?
No.
Make sure there's no one on Zoom.
Okay,
The
got
video
it.
go.
Yep. I gotta be quick. Moving on, reports. Steve Carter, claims and finance.
Okay, financials for your consideration this month for the period ending 11/30/24. For Rolling Prairie, we ended with a total fund balance of $298,312.85. Of that amount, $234,832 is in the O&M fund, $8,500 in the debt service reserve, and $54,940 in the bond and interest account. Pretty much the usual suspects for the month, nothing unusual. For the toll road, ending fund balance is $522,970.36. Of that amount, $159,548 is in the O&M fund at Horizon, and the balance of $363,422 is in the Hoosier Fund. For Hudson Saugony, total ending balance $2,183,794.84. Disbursements for the month totaling $43,189. Interest income for the month $8,333. Claims. We had what was distributed was a total of $75,265.54. We had asked Barry email Jennifer some invoices. I think there are about 8 of them, totaling $28,309.94, which I've added to my copy. I'll give that to you. If you approve those as well, the total will be $103,575.48.
What was that additional amount again, Steve?
$28,309.94.
And that was JPR?
No, that was Astbury.
Oh, Atsbury?
Yeah, there was some communication that went back and forth over the weekend or early this week to.
Yeah, we had the November ones we didn't have for the previous meeting, and so we had those to add in here. And then yesterday, I asked them to get me everything, so we had it through the end of the year. So I got, I don't know, they emailed Steve and I their monthly ones and different stuff. So
Is that
that is for
It's 3 months of operating.
3 months of operation,
okay?
and then various sludge removal,
Okay.
which was a big, like 6,000 or something of it. So
Okay.
they were all, I reviewed them all.
So are we not getting monthly billing on time?
It depends when it comes in. I mean, sometimes we do and we might miss it, but it depends. I'm trying to get it streamlined a little bit easier.
Okay.
It
Yeah,
comes from 3
because-
different people, so I'm trying to get,
Yeah.
It
Now,
seems like it's a constant occurrence.
is
and
it
I just-
because of from their end, or is it from a little bit on our end because of the date of the meeting?
some of it. I think we missed one that was from August, which I don't know how we did that, but we did.
Okay.
And then the rest are Novembers from last month, and then
Okay.
the other 6 I think we got were just from yesterday with yesterday's date. So
Okay.
I was just trying to get them to submit everything.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thanks.
So we had it all done by the end of the year and caught up.
Yeah.
Are we good with the city of LaPorte? I know we had a final
Oh, yeah.
notice.
You know, I've emailed Jerry and I don't know what is that was for. Because do you know what that city of LaPorte invoice was for?
The 1,200.
I think that's
The one that said final notice?
yeah.
No, I mean it. Let me look at it again. I mean it's from October or October 1st, which we never saw. At least I never saw it. And it was for Vector Wet Well Cleaning Services on 9/13.
I remember them doing something
Yeah,
for
I'm not
us.
sure that's the one we're talking about, but I'll have to look.
So,
But I've not heard anything back from Jerry.
Are you talking about the one, the one that was like,
Email.
yeah,
so you're just gonna call Jerry?
I already have. I've left him a message and an email, but I haven't heard anything.
Okay.
So, I mean, we'll just pay it. Worst case scenario, we have a credit.
yeah. Probably should, I mean, I just don't wanna be
Yeah, we don't want,
any risk of any,
Christmas is coming up.
yeah, disconnect.
Here it is, disconnect notice.
Yeah, they're, what was that one from?
$247.75.
That
That was for the
already paid.
utility side,
Yeah, that was
not for
already
their, not for their monitoring and maintenance. But yeah, our utility bill from them is still around $250 every month. So the meter's still not working right. I know Jerry was looking into it, but
Let's just pay whatever's pending.
well, that's already paid.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I paid it.
that
I
was
went and
already
paid it
paid.
yesterday.
Okay, that's what I was referring to.
Isn't that the one you do online?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. And for some reason, I didn't see it last month, so there were 2 months on there, but it's up to
Okay.
date.
Yeah.
Can we do an AC, they won't do like an ACH or?
I don't know. I mean, it's a push from our end.
Okay.
They send us an email. They send it to Jennifer an email notification, then she sends it to me, and then I go in and pay it.
Okay. Yeah, we.
Who do they use for their billing?
I don't know. I think they do it in house.
Yeah, it says
Yeah, they do.
City of LaPorte.
We have a suggestion.
Utility building at the City of LaPorte.
So is there any even potential claim
Out there.
that we need to include in our claims to approve that would need, I mean, we don't have to pay it, right? If we find out any of these claims are
Right.
wrong, we don't pay them, but is there anything we need to approve now so that we, you know what I mean? Or is it all included? Or would you just say we leave
I
it
think
be?
it's all in there, right, Steve? I mean, all the City of LaPorte utilities, you.
Yeah, City of
paid.
LaPorte's up to date. Mm-hmm. So
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Move on.
Merry Christmas.
And then we.
Okay.
Jennifer, this bill, it says the address is 401 State Street.
Yeah, that was part of my question. Where is this and what are they doing? Because it also got sent to
Well, then we need to change.
Tony's previous assistant an address. So that the whole thing was confusing because nothing gets mailed there.
the service address, you talking about the for the $1,200?
They got an email address on the, for billing.
Utility building at City of LaPorte.
Oh,
Are we talking
What's-
about the $1,200 or the $250?
247.75.
247.
What's her name? What's Tony's?
Julie?
Julie. Julie's the one that emailed it to us.
I think it's sent to her. It says fourth floor. That'd be the health department.
Why?
So health
But I
department.
don't know why anything's still going there, and that could explain why no one saw it to this point. I don't
Sure.
know.
well, that wasn't the
Stop
final.
over at the utilities?
Or
I mean,
call an email.
That wasn't the final notice. The final notice one was from Jerry's department from a 10-1
I think
invoice.
you're talking about something
Yeah, I
else,
think there were
Steve.
two, Steve, actually. That, I'm looking at that.
There was
That absolutely is a
disconnect
final notice.
that was mailed
Yeah, I
to
got it.
Julie's office
Oh,
that
Yeah, it's all red.
Both of them.
This page is all red.
Who's Julie?
I didn't get that, but I went in yesterday just thinking I don't remember having paid it in a while, so I went in and just logged in and checked, and I was like, oh, okay, we didn't pay it,
that's
so I
my
paid the whole
question, is I'm
balance.
trying to figure out what that is for and why it's going there and not to
Yeah, we
us.
need to make sure it's
That's
not-
what and that's why I was trying to reach to Jerry, and I haven't.
But what you're saying, Steve, is when you go in, it shows everything we owe,
It's
Yes,
and you paid it.
yes.
it's all it states is LaPorte County Sewer, Rolling Prairie,
Paid.
State Road 2.
Right.
So that's Jerry's office?
Well,
No?
no, that's our project. I would
Oh.
think. Sewer on State
Do
Road
we need to
2.
go to the utilities department and make sure?
That'd be
We
great.
can. We can go after.
What's the address on there, Mitch?
801 Michigan Avenue.
All right.
That's City Hall, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, they pay.
Now, is that the address for the $1,200 one or the $250? I'm
47.75.
Me, all
Hey,
confused
I'm the
now.
treasurer, I got you.
You got it?
I got
Okay,
you.
we're good.
Okay,
All right.
figure it out.
Okay, what else under claims?
We need to have a motion to approve the claims.
So move.
We got a motion and a second to approve the claims. Are there any questions? Proceed to vote. All those in favor signify by the word aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Ayes have it. All right, where were we?
We went over.
Asbury, you got anything to report on?
Good morning. The only thing, a couple things I've got are that we did some work. We're looking at maybe the generators being serviced. I haven't seen anybody out there doing the service, and I'm not sure what the schedule was or if they're under contract or not. That and just the waterworks miscommunication of reporting the lead line services to the state, and we've gotten that taken care of now.
So back on the generators, so when was the last time it was done? Don't we do that yearly?
It should be yearly, but I don't know. I don't have a record of when they were serviced last.
I remember Marquis Electric doing it.
I got H&T too.
2-3 years ago.
KB Electric.
Yeah, we can,
JB.
so we need to look into that. Chris, contact me and let me see if I can find the last ones, and then you can reach out to them to get additional
Yeah.
information to get those serviced.
Is it H&G or H&T? What's the company again?
For electrical, there's an H&T, there's a KB Electric.
I'll get you a list of 3.
Thank you.
But the question is,
Who did it?
well, are we under contract
Yeah.
in
Right.
some type of recurring yearly manner?
I think it's time to renew it, even if we had one.
Well,
It's time to renew it,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
I know it was Marquis. I thought we had like a contract, but
I thought we did too,
Now let's-
but
yeah.
I think the only
Mark, you got something?
the only
yeah,
thing,
I was just gonna say, if Chris doesn't remember, we haven't been doing it on a yearly basis, so we need to start from zero, find
Yep.
3, pick the one of the 3 and do it on a yearly, so he's, if that's what he wants, then he can do it. Okay?
All right.
Okay.
We'll get 3, Jennifer.
thank you.
Mark's gonna get them.
Yep.
Hey, Chris, one more thing. What was on the reporting on the lead? Fill me in on that.
What the state wanted was a lead line inventory. They want to make sure that there's no lead lines in the whole system, and there are none because it's been, you know, the plazas were knocked down and rebuilt again, so there's no lead lines in it. But it was just a matter of not getting the report done before October 15th.
All right.
The report is done now and has been submitted.
So, okay.
so do we owe, I mean, is,
Yes, Asbury sent, if you look in your packet, last December, we got a proposal from a Chrissy Asbury that apparently came to me. I missed it. And, so I acknowledge that completely. And so now this report was due, and I've asked Asbury going forward that anything new like this needs to be in their monthly updates so that nothing like this gets missed again. Because apparently this is a new requirement just this year.
Okay.
And so that needed to be done.
And perhaps an alert, right? Hey, this is very important. This needs to be done. Not just slid in with billing, like something that needs to spark, immediate action. We would appreciate.
Yeah.
Well,
so
there's,
Chris or Jennifer, are we paying the 2,500 or what was the fee?
That's the quote for Asbury to do this report. That was their proposal.
And
And they've done it.
They've
And
done
that's
it.
still in their, it's still the same amount in their quote. So I guess if you guys want to make a motion to approve it and it's done,
Yeah. We should do that.
well, okay. This is a report to say that there's no lead in there. And and so they did report.
I didn't see the report yet, but Chris is saying it was submitted. So Chris, can you send me a copy of that?
Let's-
So we can share
At
it with
least
the
have that
board,
on,
please?
file.
Yes.
At least we're knowing what we're getting.
Agreed.
And then I'm sure that there's all kinds of alerts throughout the whole year. You must have something like a tickler file or something on a monthly basis. Hey, we have to send this to the state or this to this.
I don't. I assume Asbury as the operator has that information, Chris?
I was never sent the reminders that for this system that needed to be done.
Okay. Who is supposed to be looking for these reminders on a monthly to a yearly basis?
Yeah, where did they get sent then?
I don't know.
So did Chrissy Asbury, who sent
should
this
be to Asbury.
proposal? I mean, how did she?
Can Jennifer?
Well, she got the notice that the report wasn't completed. You know, after October 15th. So at that point, and you know, we went into action and just completed the thing to make sure that the state was fine with the report being submitted.
It's a new requirement.
So, Chris, could you maybe, as representative of the operator, touch base with somebody downstate to make sure that you actually get some type of maybe reminder 60, 90 days in advance? Or,
Right.
or is this a yearly obligation?
No, it's a one-time deal.
Okay.
All the other reminders as far as the things that need to be completed come to me.
Okay.
I'm the operator of record.
Yeah. So, so we're not going to get another one of these, is what you're saying. There's no need to get some protocol because it's done.
Time.
No, right,
Okay.
right. This is a one-time deal thing. I don't believe that the state handled it well. I mean, yes, they send out reminders. 3-month, probably quarterly reminders, but I never received one for this system.
But besides this, you get other reminders and notices throughout the year.
For this, for all the other things, all the other requirements, SOCs, VOCs, I get those reminders for this system.
All right. So, Chris, maybe if you can submit to Jennifer a copy of the report, and maybe instead of a bid, why not just generate an invoice? And I assume you could wait if we approve it at the next meeting we have. Is that okay?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
And like I said, I also emailed with Tom, and I think going forward, anything like this that comes up, I've asked to make sure we get that in their monthly report.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Anything else for Chris? All right, moving on. JPR.
You've got your end of the month billing information there. There was nothing new. Letters regarding liens and collections efforts will be going out, and liens will be filed in January.
Okay.
Okay. New billing provider?
Go ahead.
Me? You want me to go ahead?
Yeah,
Well,
I would love that.
so the executive committee had a meeting to discuss the two proposals. Discussed it, pros, cons, both ways. And I think probably Marcy can give a report of what the executive committee's recommendation to the board would be.
Yes, after the meeting, we decided that we would go ahead and take the proposal and billing services from Jennifer. We're gonna go ahead and go along with that proposal. And we'll reevaluate. She's been doing it for us since inception, so we're pretty happy with the services that we receive at this point. So we are gonna go ahead and I would recommend that we take Jennifer's proposal.
So is that a motion?
And I would make a motion subject to the way we would any provider, my review of a proposed contract that Jennifer generates, subject to my ability to review and just say it's fine. And But I think you can authorize the approval subject to my review and maybe authorize your president to sign the proposal, because I think we need it done before the end of the year, because I think JPR wants to be done by the end of the year.
Yeah, it'll probably be the last month for them. but
Okay.
Yeah, I'll get that.
You wanna make?
So is this a yearly contract? I didn't
We
see.
do yearly.
Or
Yes.
And
Okay.
it'll still be subject to if you guys want to terminate just 60 days or whatever you want to do. It's not gonna be.
10
you have
minutes.
to stick to a year.
Okay, make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the billing proposal from Jennifer Ransbottom. Any questions on the motion?
Just to add, it was
Barry's.
accept that, but then have Barry, look at the contract with his approval and your signage.
Yep. Okay, anything else?
Yep.
Proceed to vote. All those in favor signify by word aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Phase 2 update. Is there anything on phase 2? Is Dan on or
No.
Is,
having a
He's having a
stogie?
baby, isn't he?
expecting any day. I don't believe he's on today.
I don't think so.
Okay. No phase 2 update.
I think the only thing that we have on that is the closing, transferring of funds to the new project, which I know there was some emails on, but I don't think it's basically just processing payment requests, it sounds like.
Yeah. I think the work's done, everything's done. We're just waiting for the state's kind of final okay to then take the remaining funds and move them over to this project.
Yep.
Okay. Hudson Saugony. Just looking at the design progress update attached.
Yeah, good morning. We have a memo here. I'm not going to go through it line by line, but let's kind of focus where
Thank
we
you.
are right now in the project. From a permitting standpoint, the most critical permit from IDEM is being processed. We know that we've responded to their initial comments. They seem to be satisfied, and we expect to see paperwork from them in the near future saying they'll be issuing a permit. And just a reminder, when that construction permit gets issued, IDEM, as part of their process, will send out a notice to all of the customers being served by that Saugony Lake project, and also any property owners along the entire force main route from Saugony Lake to the treatment plant. So just wanted you to be aware that there is going to be a letter going out, so a lot of people will get notice of that, and they'll have our contact information if they have questions about it. The state requires, as part of the permitting process, that all affected parties be notified of a potential permit issue. So even though we don't have any intention to connect those properties along the long force main route, which is the county roads, they still will send them a notice of that. So that usually generates some questions and calls, but we'll be sure to handle that. The other permits are all in process and underway, and we expect there should be some movement on those here in the very near future. So we opened bids today. The first thing we do with this is we go back and check the math, because it's a unit price type bid, and contractors have to total up all the numbers. We want to make sure there's no math errors. They're usually really good at submitting bids that are correct and accurate, but we have to check that. That's part of our job. We'll also review all the other requirements, including the responsive and responsible bidder ordinance. So if we have some questions on that, we'd love to be able to include Marcy and some others on that, just to.
I'll be in contact regarding.
Perfect.
And I guess I don't want to get into a big discussion on the board's sake, but I mean, obviously the bids are high, right? I mean, they're above our
They are.
estimates. So that affects everything. It affects how much money we have, what the rate would be.
Ultimately,
I mean,
yes.
I mean, I guess, is there any thought to at least having some type of meeting with the executive committee, if not a special meeting? I mean, had they come under, right, no problem. We have
Right.
our meeting in January and all's right with the world, but
I think it's a good idea.
There's some significant discussion that needs to be had.
Yes.
before
I
that
guess
board meeting.
I know that we're on this strict timeline that bond council and
Yeah.
have all set in place, but I wouldn't think we just show up January 28th and
Make a recommendation.
I mean,
No, I agree.
Maybe we will. Maybe you'll. I just think that it's something for the board to consider that
100%.
we may have to make some choices.
Executive boards are gonna have to get together and have a long meeting.
Yeah.
Is what's gonna.
And how we would normally
Yeah. What's the
process
normal?
going is, yes, we wouldn't come to you with, okay, here's your rate. There's gonna be a lot of work between us and Steve Carter in the next 4 weeks. And I know we got some holidays in there. To work through those numbers, finalize the numbers. Steve will have a hard, firm interest rate, and there will probably be some negotiations with SRF in saying, do you have any additional grant funding or forgivable loans that you can put at this? If you recall, when we did Rolling Prairie, it's a little smaller project, quite a bit smaller project, but the same thing happened there where the bids were somewhat higher, went back to SRF, and they offered more dollars. I'm not saying that's going to happen here, but there's other things Steve and SRF can work with as far as, well, what interest rate are we using, or is there potential for some 0% interest rate? Those types of things are all things that will be explored. And Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's part of your process. We're going to give you make sure we have the correct low bidder numbers tomorrow. We'll send those to Steve, and then Steve can start running his different scenarios of options for looking at what that rate impact would be.
Just a quick question. Do we have a definite date from the state revolving funds that we have to have a decision made on this? Because I'm just
Yeah.
curious, with everything being over the engineer's estimate, there's other things we might have to visit. So
Right.
that's why with an engineer's estimate, I want to know what timeline is definitive for giving the state a number.
Right. And we've set up a tentative schedule that can always be changed if it
Okay.
needs to be. Now, we'll need SRF's commitment to that, because they always try to want to close projects no later than the state's third quarter, which is January through March of
Okay.
2025, because
Okay.
they go from July to.
If you look on page 2 of the memo,
Yeah.
that is your tentative schedule for information and for the closing and everything.
And which one is that, Jennifer?
Page 2 of the
Page 2
JPR.
Of the JPR memo.
Okay.
And in there, you'll say, okay, special board meeting for bid opening, actually your normal board meeting, since you moved it up. Our target was by January 21st, file form of rate ordinance.
Okay.
And again, if we have to adjust this because we're not comfortable with those numbers, the
Yes.
idea is, if I don't want to put you on the spot, but
Put them on the spot.
we'd like to, obviously, before that January 21st meeting, have that executive session to talk about various rate scenarios. What does it look like when we just plug the numbers and go? What are some other options that might be open to us?
And I don't mean to put Steve on the spot because I don't remember, but what was our target rate or not to exceed target
Our
rate?
last estimate, and Steve, you can file in on this, but yeah, we pulled that up when we went to SRF in March of this year with an update. If the project bids had been coming in where we thought they would be, we were looking at about $102 a month rate,
Right.
I believe.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Steve.
And now it looks like we might be looking for somewhere between 3 and 4 million extra.
Yeah, that's concerning. So that's why as soon as we can do our executive board meeting, I'd like to. I mean, after Christmas, obviously.
Probably that first full week of January,
Yeah,
maybe.
sounds good.
Would Steve have time to get
I
the
mean, even
information?
if we
Because
don't have the
that's,
full rate, we probably ought to meet
Yes.
at least to discuss options and next steps and what communications do we want to have with SRF
Okay.
requests, because there's no shame in asking for more money. We've done it before, and
I've got no shame in asking.
Yeah, and I think when this project originated, we had a cap that we were trying to pursue and not go over as
Yeah.
far as monthly payments. No,
Yeah.
you may-
maybe,
Yeah, there's
can't remember.
definitely.
there was certainly discussion about it.
Yeah.
Concerning. We don't want to get,
All right,
too
in the
over-
weeds too much.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll make sure we set that up for the first week of January. And as soon as possible,
Yep.
everybody that's on the executive can be ready.
Is it John, Marcy, and Jerry, right?
Or is it Mitch?
Oh, Mitch.
Is it? That's the question.
Okay.
Well, it's the officers typically, but you can only have 3, so.
Yep.
Let's have Mitch.
Yeah, do it.
Okay.
All right. Moving on, just compensation.
Yes,
Were you done with the status report? I'm sorry, I didn't.
yes, unless you had other questions.
No,
And
thanks,
so-
Steve.
All right, we'll be working closely with Steve Carter on the numbers here.
Appreciate it.
I wasn't ignoring everyone. I was pulling up my last report, just trying to get my head around this. So, to answer your question, I think even if you wanted to meet like the week after Christmas, I could have something available, but January is fine as well.
I
Whatever.
could too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well,
just send it out, Jennifer,
Yeah.
and see.
Okay.
Unless people are off the whole week of, like the 29th,
Yeah,
after
I mean,
Christmas.
JPR offices are typically closed between Christmas and New Year's.
Okay.
We could meet like the 2nd or 3rd.
Okay.
No issue at all.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay,
He should be an engineer.
That works.
yeah.
I know, I should be an engineer.
All right, the next topic is just compensation. So if you recall, we're asking property owners to execute an easement agreement to put grinder stations on their property so the district can provide them service. Because this is a federally funded project, the proper notice was given to each property owner that they have a right to request compensation. And what this just compensation approach shows, and we've done this in multiple regional sewer districts across the state, is that the benefit of the proposed easement being granted far outweighs the benefit of the value of the land that's being taken. Because we're really only talking about a 15 by 15 foot square that's usually right at the right of way, because that's our district standards. And the only reason we're going through this is we've had at least one person now, represented by an attorney, who's requested
Compensation.
this just compensation. And the usual approach is that the board would have a formal adopted policy. This is how we want to handle just compensation for these grinder station easements, which basically shows there is no net cost, and therefore the district will have a policy then saying we're not paying for grinder station easements unless there's some really special circumstances. But if a property owner might say, well, I want it 100 feet away, well, that's for their benefit
Right.
already. We're saying we're providing you service by putting it right out the right of way, right next to the right of way line. And this memo goes through that process where we had an independent appraiser not located in LaPorte County,
Okay.
who went out and did a valuation study, not a formal appraisal, but a valuation study that came up with roughly a dollar amount of $1 per square foot is the valuation, and then you take 20% off of that because we're only acquiring an easement rather than actually purchasing that outright. For a 15 by 15 foot easement, that's a pretty minimal cost. And then you balance that against the benefit that's being provided by the sewer system that's being provided to their property. That's what this memo goes through,
Okay.
that approach. The absolute end of this is then the district says we are not going to offer or pay for a grinder station easement. If that property owner still disputes that, then we say, fine, you don't have to sign an easement, but you'll still be required to connect to the system. And the project will include a grinder station for you, and we'll keep that. But then they'll have to, when it comes time to connect, they'll have to take that grinder station and install it at their own cost versus for everybody who signed an easement, we've provided it for them and installed it for them, okay, on their property. So that's the standard approach that many regional sewer districts take, because it could get very costly if you start saying, okay, we're going to pay for
Oh, man,
the
yeah.
value of every grinder station easement in the project.
And JPR forwarded it to me. and I took a look at it. It seems reasonable to me. I've actually been on both this side and I've actually represented homeowners in other takings, whether it be NICD or the county or Michigan City, so I kind of have seen it from the other side. I mean, essentially the analysis is that the harm or the taking of the easement property is, worst case scenario for the ones that are split, I suppose, is $500. And a very conservative estimation of the value added for actually having now a functional sewer system is $15,000. So even if the appraiser's off a bit,
Yeah.
and the harm isn't 500, let's say it's 1,000, and the value's 7,500, it's still, I mean, there's still such a huge discrepancy that the value is greater than the harm, such that the district would have no reason to compensate anybody. Now, somebody can always file suit, right? There's no, we've run into that in other projects. Somebody could always say, well, I disagree with that analysis. The harm of that, I don't know. I don't even know what it would be. That the harm of that 15 by 7.5 foot is $100,000 to me, and they can file suit. And then, but I mean, again, this is the type of evidence that you'd say we disagree. That's probably fairly unlikely. It could happen. You might get one stray, but there's a lot of easements involved. But I certainly think that the analysis is fine, and I would recommend that the board adopt this methodology as a good methodology to counter anyone looking for compensation.
I'm okay with doing the motion here. Just one quick question, Jennifer. When we did the Rolling Prairie project and we had this same scenario, did we have any kind of a policy or anything like that?
Rolling Prairie was a bit different because that was a gravity sewer, so we didn't need easements from anybody. This is because
There you
we
go.
put grinders onto their property really for their benefit, 'cause we don't want that grinder out in the road where it's going to get hit and damaged, snowplows.
No, I'm just
plus
trying
all
to
that.
make sure we're not reinventing the wheel here.
Sure, yeah.
And make
We have to
a,
come up with a memo? Is that what you're saying?
Well,
Well, they've already done one actually
we've
for
done
us.
the memo.
gotta
We
approve it.
we suggest if you concur
Okay, let's
that
approve
you
it.
adopt this just valuation or just compensation as the board's policy regarding grinder station easements. Now, main line easements that we may need, those are handled completely separate. This is specifically regarding people who are requesting compensation for a grinder station easement. And like we said, even if they, they could file suit, of course, but our response would be, well, then we're not in a position where we're forcing people to sign this grinder station easement, because the project will go on whether they sign it or not. We have roughly 70% of the easements in hand already,
Okay.
just under that, and we want to make a big push in the first of the year to kind of get the last group. We'll never get 100%. You never do on any project. We'd like to see us get up around 90% easements. And
I challenge you to get 100%.
I tell you what, we will go for it, yes.
We came darn close on the last
Yeah.
one. Out of 1,800, we were short 15
Right.
easements.
Wow.
I'll make a motion to accept this.
Just compensation policy.
Yes.
Second.
We got
Second.
Corey second. We got motion and second to accept the just compensation policy. Is it a policy or
Yes.
Yeah.
Memo?
Memorandum memo.
are there any questions on the motion? Proceed to vote. All those in favor signify by the word aye.
Aye.
I,
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Executive committee, there was no meeting held.
Well, there was a meeting actually to
was.
discuss the billing proposals.
There was.
President,
But we already reviewed all that.
we talked about that.
well then, should we change the agenda to say that we had an executive meeting?
I think it's okay because it just says engineering committee, no meeting held,
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Got
okay.
it.
which we didn't
My
have.
bad. You're right.
Okay, what about notice of statutory exemption, extension service letter?
On the exemptions, we've had about a dozen that we've received, and I did forward a couple to Amanda, and I have to get that list finalized and sent to her for those exemptions for the timeline. Also, Barry, did we Did we publish that letter that we mailed out? Certified? Do you remember? I thought we did.
I think we did. We didn't do the whole letter, but we did the notice
Yes,
that
I
was in the
think you
letter.
and Dan worked together
Yeah,
and.
I mean, I didn't send it to
Right.
anybody. I think you guys typically
Okay.
do, but I know that we were working on both a notice and a letter.
Yeah, so I gotta go back and find that so we know, cause I think we were talking about if we wanted to publish it again. Is that what I was?
Because you got a few returned,
Yeah,
right?
so that was one of the things on these certified letters that we mailed.
Mm-hmm.
We need to figure out how we're moving forward with ones that are returned.
Well, I don't know if there's anything unique to this form of notification. I will just tell you, when we lawyers send out certified letters for, let's say, Board of Zoning Appeals notices or Plan Commission notices, as long as we show we made a good faith attempt, as long as our address matched up with the county records of addresses, there's no obligation to continue to send one after the other, because as we know, at least we lawyers know, 50% at least of any certified letter I've ever sent in 30 some years gets returned. It's, and again, they might have a better percentage because it doesn't have a law firm on the top. Mine usually get immediately not claimed and never returned. But I think if we've done everything we're supposed to do, I wouldn't necessarily send out a second notice. The idea of publishing again, I don't see anything wrong with that. It's a small cost to the district, but I would rather have the ability to look somebody in the eye and say we went above the statutory requirement to notify everybody.
Okay, so we'll look at that and then you and
Now
I
let's
can.
make sure that we did it.
Yeah.
And if
then
not,
we'll
let's do
review
it again.
And then
Right.
if not, or even if we did, maybe we want to
Right.
do it a final notice or something in the paper.
Yeah, if we've done it, if we've done what we're supposed to do, which is I forget two notices or however many notices,
There's no way.
I have no problem if you come back to the board and recommend we throw an additional publication notice just so that everybody knows.
Okay.
Okay.
Sound good? Anything else on that?
Very.
Okay, moving on. New business. Next meeting, January 28th. Pre-agenda meeting, January 21st.
Yep.
2022 and 2023 audit finishing.
Yep, we're still finishing that up. I have hoping to get the rest of the information to them this week.
Will that meet the requirement for SRF if we do go through with closing on Saucony, then having current State Board of Accounts audit complete?
Yeah, by the time we close, it should be done.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, 2025 meeting dates.
Love it.
We already have.
Fourth
those up.
Tuesday of every month.
I
Yep.
think we may have an issue in May, it looks like. That's up to you guys, though. Day after Memorial Day.
We may be able to make it without you, I don't know.
That's right.
I'm gonna be waking up about 10. All right.
All right, old business, interlocal agreement. All good on that, right, Barry?
Yeah, there's nothing left to do. We approach them within 30 days after we close with SRF, and probably we'll have to generate some type of invoice and submit it to the county, and theoretically it gets paid without incident.
Yep.
Keep it on the agenda though, right, Barry?
Yeah,
Keeping it on
absolutely.
there
I
just
like it
so
on the
none of
agenda.
us forget.
That's the reason we did.
We don't
Yep.
want to lose
Keep
that.
it that way.
Yep. You don't want to forget about our dinner. All right.
Okay, what else? Anything else?
No, thank you.
No? Motion to, are we finished then?
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn?
Let's like it.
Second.
We got motion and second to adjourn. Any questions? All those in favor signify by word aye.
Arg.
Opposed, same sign. I have it. Meeting adjourned, 9:53 a.m.